Michael Barnbrook is a retired Metropolitan Police Inspector with a wealth of experience in civil as well as criminal law. In the London Borough of Bexley, he is part of a team that closely scrutinises the local council. At this recent London meeting, Michael gives some insights, including a comment on September 12th's nationalist demonstration in Dover.
Good evening, gentlemen and lady. For those who don't know, I'm a retired Metropolitan Police Inspector. Congratulations to what happened to you all at Dover, but take it from me, your enemy is not the rank and file PC or sergeant. They are on our side. Unfortunately, they have mortgages, they have all the expenses everybody else has, and they are at the beck and call of senior management and common purpose. One of the problems we have in this country is it's a very corrupt society, as we know, and there's more and more communication between councils and police, and it's all getting very corrupt. I'm a member of a small group of 5 individuals. We have a website called Bexley is Bonkers. We monitor, so I can't go to Dover and fight, I'm too old, so I do it by the pen. We have a small group of 5 old age pensioners, and we monitor Bexley Council and Bexley Heath Police for fraud and corruption. We, the 5 of us, we currently have 3 serving chief superintendents, a serving chief inspector, 2 police constables, the chief executive of Bexley Council, a conservative councillor, a Bexley Council legal officer, and 1 other Bexley Council employee. 9 people being investigated for criminal offences because of the corruption that exists between Bexley Council and Bexley Heath Police. We recently had a scandal a few years ago in Bexley Council where our former leader of the council, Ian Clement, went to become a deputy mayor of the GLA, and 4 times he had his credit card taken off of him by Boris Johnson. And the 5th time I wrote to Boris Johnson and said, that man's committed a criminal offence, report him to the police. And Boris Johnson wouldn't do it. So I reported Ian Clement to the police, and he was arrested and charged with fraud and was sentenced to a term of imprisonment. Bexley Council then had to investigate Clement when he was the leader of the council, and they discovered fraud, and the police covered it all up. Recently, we suspect that the leader of Bexley Council has said to the chief executive, look, we've had 1 scandal with Ian Clement, you're currently being investigated by the police for misconduct in public office, and the file is not only with the Crown Prosecution Service, it's with the higher echelons of the Crown Prosecution Service. There's over 100 pages of evidence of fraud. So he's been told to go for another job. We found out on the 20th of August that he had applied for the role of Chief Executive of Tower Hamlets Council. Now you know all the fraud that's been done. For the last 3 years, Tower Hamlets Council has been running without a Chief Executive. It's been run by 4 commissioners appointed by the Secretary of State for Communities, Greg Clark. We found out on the 20th of August that our Chief Executive had been selected to become the new Chief Executive of Tower Hamlets Council. So I emailed the 4 commissioners that were running the council and the mayor, I think his name's John something or other.
John Biggs.
John Biggs. I emailed John Biggs and the 4 commissioners, and I said, you're obviously not aware that the man you are about to put in office at an extraordinary general meeting on the 26th of August, 6 days hence, is currently being investigated for a criminal offence, and the file is at the Crown Prosecution Service. It might be prudent to defer the appointment until the CPS have made their decision what they're going to do about it. Well, you imagine the flummox they're in, can't you? And I've been told that an email went from the senior commissioner to John Biggs saying, irrespective of that, don't take any notice that man is a vexatious fascist. and the leader...
Too kind.
The leader of the Labour group at the meeting actually referred to me as a vexatious fascist. The Conservative councillors, because it's predominantly Asian Italians, really? The Conservative councillors and the Labour councillors all grouped together. The interesting thing was that the 15 independents, most of whom are Asians, all abstained from the vote. I've now made a complaint to the Secretary of State against the incompetence and misconduct in public office of his 4 commissioners. I made a complaint against Biggs and all those that voted in favour of appointing our Chief Executive on the basis that they made that appointment knowing that he was being investigated for a criminal offence. So I've sent off a complaint to the Secretary of State. I'm just waiting to hear from him. But you're tainted as a member of the BNP, aren't you? I recently asked a question at a Bexley Council meeting about Bexley Council being responsible for the death of a 3-year-old, and the cabinet member I asked the question to, and it's on film, it's on cam, he said, I refuse to answer a question from somebody who stood on the same platform as Nick Griffin. At the last meeting, some of you may have been aware that I made a report to the police. I was walking up my local high street and I walked around the corner and there's this massive advertising hoarding. And on it is a picture of Sol Campbell, the England international footballer, you know, and he had his face blackened up. Whitened up. Get it right, Bob. I've had too many drinks. He had his face whitened up. And next to his photograph, there was 4 black celebrities that took part in this thing, and it was funded by Operation Black Vote. Oh, yeah. And next to his photograph was a slogan, if you don't register to vote, you take the colour out of Britain. Oh. And I thought, well, if that's not racist, I don't know what is. Are they saying that if you don't vote, the whites will rule again? And what has colour got to do with an election? So I went home, power of the pen, and I made a formal complaint to the police against Sol Campbell and Operation Black Vote for inciting racial hatred under sections 18 and 19 of the Public Order Act 1986. I had a detective constable phone me up trying to talk me out of all this a week later, and I said, how many people have actually reported this to the Metropolitan Police? He said, you're the only one, Mr. Barnbrook. He said, but 50 people did complain to the Advertising and Standards Agency. So I said, well, I want it investigated. Now, the Metropolitan Police, they operate a hate crime policy, homophobic hate, race hate, and if you, as a complainant, perceive that there's been a hate crime, race hate, it has to be investigated. And the first thing the police have to do is interview you. I've never been interviewed. Anyway, I won't read the letter I sent off. I pointed out stated cases and everything. But I got this letter the other day. Now, other than the detective constable contacting me to say that he was the detective constable assigned to investigate the case, I've had no contact with him whatsoever. And this is the reply I got. Dear Mr. Barnbrook, as you are aware, I have been investigating your allegation related to the poster featuring Sol Campbell, which was displayed in Blackfen during the time of the 2015 general election. During the election, I have made inquiries with various agencies, including the Advertising Standards Agency, Saatchi & Saatchi, and Operation Black Vote. Having reviewed the case with my supervising officers, it is not felt the matter reaches the investigative threshold and therefore no further action will be taken. So we can't do the black and white minstrels, but they can do it the other way round. Also, under official Home Office county rules, the allegation has been classified as no crime. So I've written back to him, Dear Detective Constable Bray, with reference to your letter dated 8th of September 2015, in which you have informed me that having reviewed my allegation against Mr. Sol Campbell and Operation Black Vote, it is not felt the matter reaches the investigative threshold and therefore no further action will be taken. I disagree with the decision and on that basis wish to appeal it. I consider there is a clear case to answer and would be grateful if you would inform me of the correct procedure to lodge my appeal against the decision. I note that you have made inquiries with various agencies, including Saatchi & Saatchi, against whom I did not make any allegations, and Operation Black Vote, against whom I did make an allegation. I'm therefore concerned that you did not interview either myself or Mr Sol Campbell, against whom I did make an allegation, and I consider that failure to be a clear case of neglect of duty by both yourself and Detective Inspector Noble, your supervising officer. Why did you not interview Mr Campbell? Was it because of his celebrity status? I consider it to be of the utmost importance to have interviewed Mr Campbell in order to ascertain his mindset when he allowed himself to be whitened up, as his decision to do so may have been racially motivated, not financially motivated. I also consider that based on skin colour, I have been the victim of racial discrimination by the Metropolitan Police for failing to properly investigate my allegations. I look forward to your early responses to my concerns. And now reply.